all the opportunities that I ever received came from my desire to serve. I worked for free long before I ever got paid to speak. Long before I ever got paid to speak. I did television for free long before I ever got paid for it, because you have to learn the craft, and then you have to hone your skills.
You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as the Going North podcast, I got to thank my good friend and one of the past guests from this show, a super special, awesome author in the DMV, Mr. Dr. Maurice W. Dorsey himself, for hooking me up with this superstar right here. Superstar nutritionalist, like, my goodness, this woman's resume goes, I'd say probably, let's go for 10,000 miles long, just to name a few things. Award-winning nutritionalist, fitness expert, lecturer, international best-selling author, and charismatic media pro. That's right, folks. She's got 20 world championships around her waist, folks, and it's a slim waist to boot. And she's the third Black woman ever to be on the cover of Women's World magazine, and she's helped over 1.5 million people lose over 6 million pounds. And thanks to COVID-19, she's probably going to help 2 million people lose over 7 million pounds. So let's give it up for the one, the only, the radiant and ravishing Dr. Rowe. How you doing today, doctor?
I am outstanding. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be with you, Dom. I have looked forward to this day.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I've been looking forward to it, too, because it's always great to have the folks who are experts in the realms of health, wellness, and mindfulness on, because that's what folks need, especially now more than ever, where it seems like folks are trying to get on the health tip and we have more options, but life tends to get hard, and then we try to use some comfort food to find comfort, and then it ends up being very discomforting later.
Yeah, a lot of guilt follows all that comfort. You know?
Yeah, it won't even be bad friends guilt tripping. It just be the macaroni and cheese. Be like, hey, buddy, say cheese. It's
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah. I used to tell the story of how, when you talk about food talking to you, I used to tell the story of how when I first lost weight and kept it off, I used to frequent this place in the DMV in DC, downtown DC, called Trios, which sold the best steak and cheese subs ever known to man. So I used to frequent and the steak and cheese subs look like, I mean, first of all, the meat was very tasty and all that. I mean, it was scrumptious, and there was so much on the sub roll. It looked like a cow just sort of wandered onto a roll and fell apart. So, and I would be eating these things at like 2 a.m. I have friends coming in from New York, and we would roll down to Trios and get this fabulous steak and cheese sub. So I ate like that, and I, ballooned up and gained like maybe 30 pounds over time, which meant when I first lost the weight, and by the way, I lost 3 dress sizes 3 different times. So yeah, there's that. But when I did, I remember, having the experience of, like I telling the story of how my fat, like I had a dream. This is a true story. I had a dream that my fat called me on the phone and it was like breathing heavy, like, where you been? We ain't seen you down Trios in a long time. And I was like, well, I'm living healthy now. And so the point is that, your fat can call you up in a dream. It's like having, what I mean? It's like having the nightmare that like you quit smoking and all of a sudden you feel you're smoking a cigarette in your dream. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that. I had lost the weight, lost the fat, and here's my fat like calling me, breathing all heavy, like, where you been? We miss you, And I'm like, no, I'm living healthy now, So anyway, I will say that as you talk about mac and cheese talking to you, it is quite possible to have the experience where the food talks to you, because I actually had a dream where my food or my fat used to call me up on the phone. It was funny. But and that just said to me that in my cells, in my DNA, I was seriously concerned about this thing, right? I carried it around with me in a subconscious way that I wasn't even aware of, like all day and obviously through the night, because I dreamt about it. Thankfully, I can report today for everyone listening that I lost my 3 dress sizes 3 different times for the last time like 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. So I've been able to keep it off. So there you have it.
Ah, beautiful indeed. Beautiful indeed. And congrats, because the third time was the charm for the 3 different times and the three
Yes.
different dress sizes.
Yes, for the 3. Look, I know, right? 3 different dress sizes up, and 3 different times. Obviously, there's some synergy. There's a story in that, in the depth of what all that means, on a spiritual level, perhaps. But the thing is to get to the point where you can do it for the final time, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like you want sustainable success.
Yes, absolutely. And the only way that you can achieve that is to be consistent about with your efforts, right? We can't just sit around talking about what we want to do. We got to be about it. We actually have to walk it out.
That's right. Even if you got 1 foot, still got to walk it out.
Yeah, so quite literally. We got to walk it out quite literally. That's what I'm doing these days, walking it out. In as much as I have to be the example for all of the scores of people that I coach. Yeah. So I owe it to myself. And unless I want to come off a hypocrite, I owe it to the people that I serve.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah, because it's especially nowadays, it's never been good, but this time today, it's not a good time to be a hypocrite at all, because folks will call you out so fast.
Oh God, yes. Don't even let's not even talk about social media, because you really they got your number. Yeah. And I remember when I hosted a show called Heart and Soul. This is years ago, and on BET. And at the same time, I've always worked like 2 and 3 different jobs, right? So at the same time, I was also the nutrition correspondent for WRC, which is News Channel 4 in DC. And I remember going out to lunch after I got off the air one day, and I'm with a friend, and we're out, in a restaurant, up, on Wisconsin Avenue. I won't say the name of the restaurant, but um, I noticed that people were watching. They were looking at us, and then this woman comes over to the table and says, "What are you having?" And I'm going to have what you're having. And I kid you not, I just happen to have like a steak and cheese sandwich at this place. I kid you not. Bowie Mongers, I'll never forget. And I was like, "Oh no, you don't want to get what I'm having." uh, no, you don't want this. Get a salad or something. Do something different, but you don't want this. But people, so when I would go out to eat, I would just say this: who noticed me from television would always want to know, well, what is she eating? What are you having? Or they want to come over and talk to you about their food, or what I used to call my bunion hurts problem, which is what any health problem. This is my look at my bunion. But any health problem they want to come over and have a conversation about, which I thought was hilarious. But that's one of the blessings, I would say, and one of the gifts that goes along with being a public person, because people take you seriously and they buy into what you have to say, which is why with that charge and that privilege comes a great deal of responsibility.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you're so right about that. It ain't just from the Spider-Man movie, it's from whole life.
Absolutely. It is, and we're talking about the information that I provide is to help people to grow their lives and to live healthier lives. So it is a huge responsibility. I've got to make sure that I'm giving facts. I got to make sure that the material that I put out is accurate, that it is done in a way that people can handle, that doesn't offend, that uplifts and encourages, because that's my intention always, to help. So there is a huge responsibility that comes with the banner that I carry, but I'm grateful to have it.
Amen to that. And it's so darn true because that banner is definitely a strong banner because you're able to go from one place to the other while you're on this journey of really just helping folks and teaching folks about really just mindful eating and just overall supreme wellness. So, what do you think is the major thing that really kept you going all this time? Because if I'm not mistaken, you also have a podcast too, where you're basically Dr. Rowe on demand.
I am Dr. On Demand. Yes, for all of the public that I serve, I am on demand for you. So yeah, I have to say that the thing that's kept me going, first of all, just know this. I'm a television junkie. I literally eat, sleep, and breathe television. I love television. I have hosted my own television shows and radio shows before. I want to do it again. So that's what drives me. It's like the television show hasn't come around yet. I'm working on some ideas, one in particular that we're, looking to work out. But anybody listening, yes, I want my own television show again. That's what keeps me going. In terms of the drive to deliver the information in that way. When I was doing it before, it was the this is I was doing television long before the internet became, the thing that it is now. So that was the greatest way to meet the most people, to have an effect on and to reach the most people that was possible at the time. Now, of course, the internet takes that and raises it, exponentially. And so the show that I get, I see having an interaction on the internet, but I'm talking about having a television show. You know what I'm saying? And because I love it, I love delivering the information in that way, using that medium. That's what drives me, because I continue to work towards it. Whatever else I'm doing, whether it's Dr. Rowe on Demand podcast, whether it's, appearing on your podcast and other shows, that's always what I'm working towards. I'm working toward my own television show that I helm, where I can take this information, all of this information that I have, to give to people, to help them live healthier lives, and to improve whatever situation they're working on. So whether it's weight loss, whether it's emotional eating, whether it is life challenges, because I coach people off camera. Yeah, off camera, we'll say. So one-on-one and in groups. Yeah, because if you're on Zoom, you're still on camera. And
Right.
I had to think about that. I was like, I have to talk to a whole bunch of people. I talk to clients on Zoom. That's not really off camera. But I'm saying off television. So I coach people one-on-one, and women specifically, because they seem to cling to the information that I have to deliver, and the way in which I deliver it. So I coach people off television, one-on-one and in groups. So just think of some of the nuggets, some of the lessons, and some of the ways that comes off. That going to television would be amazing, right? So yeah, I'm looking to get back to television, and that's what drives me. That's the short answer to your question. Getting my own television show is what drives me. I know that when I wake up in the morning, I wake up to serve. So that's first, but I want to be able to do it using this medium.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. And you're definitely right. Because even though the internet has made it possible for folks to reach folks at an exponential rate, you still,
Mhm.
heck, even millennials and Gen Z folks, they still want to get on TV, even if they have like a million followers, because it's still that wow factor, because there's still a whole group of people that folks can reach, like those are like 40 plus years old that still watch TV every day. It's like, oh shoot, I know that. That's Dr. Roshi back, baby, back in black and all that good stuff. And it's so
Yes,
still a powerful medium. So it's
that's the
so
gold
true.
standard. It's the gold standard. It is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, it's like internet's good, but hey, still want to get the gold here. You gotta get the gold
Yes.
standard.
Yes, I want the gold standard. So I want to go back to television. Absolutely.
That's right. Can call it chocolate fabulosity over 40.
Okay, I like it. Look, we're gonna put chocolate fabulosity over 40 on the list.
There you go. Maybe that could be a particular segment, baby, of the overall package you have in mind.
Chocolate fabulosity. I like it. That goes on the list for the
Ah,
fabulous over 40 and over, for the fabulous 40 plus crowd.
heck yeah.
You know that happens to be a really big television demo.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
really is, especially since 40 is somewhat the new 20.
Mhm. Mhm.
May not always feel like it, but it's the new 20.
Mhm.
So my goodness, got this big goal to get back on the big screen of the television into people's homes and been able to pivot and use all this knowledge to your advantage. So what do you say has probably been the biggest thing you've been helping folks with during this whole pandemic? Now that we're a year over past the beginning of this whole craze that kind of forced people to get back into their whole, oh man, I was doing good. Now I gotta really drop this COVID-20.
Yeah, exactly. The COVID-20. People talk about the COVID-15 because a recent report came out that talked about how the average American has gained an extra 2 pounds a month. And so, which kind of would might have ended up being like a COVID-15 kind of situation. But I can tell you that my clients come to me with the COVID-20 plus. So yeah, they come to me because black folks, if America has a cold, we definitely have pneumonia. So so
Yep.
the thing is, yeah, we get the brunt of everything. So yeah, they come to me with the COVID-20 plus. Now, having said that, I think the biggest thing that I've been coaching people through are two things. One, weight loss at the top of the list, because you find yourself sitting around the house and maybe you're not moving, you're not as active, especially if you're working from home. And for those people who are working from home, sitting and be at a screen and watching the screen all day, whether it's your laptop or your computer screen or a television screen, right? The fact is, if you're sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day, if you don't get up and move 1 or 2 minutes each of those hours, you have increased your cancer risk by 50%.
Ouch.
Yes, but the reverse is true. If you get up and move 1 or 2 minutes each of those hours, set the timer on your phone or on your computer and just get up and move. Do toe touches, raise your arms, walk around the house, dance around the room, go outside, take a quick walk and come back. Just do that to 1 or 2 minutes. That's all it really takes. You reduce your cancer risk in half if you do this every hour of those 8 or 10 hours that you're sitting. The fact is, sitting is the new cancer.
It's true. It is so
Sitting,
true.
sitting is a new cancer. So, if you could just do that, you increase your chances of not having cancer, not getting cancer by 50%. So that said, I would tell you that I am coaching people through weight loss, yes, because folks are sitting in the home overeating, but they're not just overeating. Nobody's overeating carrot sticks and celery. Okay. No, people are overeating, chocolate chip cookies, and folks are baking, and some people are discovering that they can cook for the first time, and others are sharpening their skills. But the fact is, people are overeating because they're eating mammoth portions, and we're talking mammoth portions of comfort food. Because with this pandemic has come a lot of anxiety, and we've discovered that we Some people are discovering themselves for the first time, like they haven't even listened to their own thoughts and they haven't acknowledged their own feelings. And that leads to emotional eating, because for the first time they're realizing that there's some deep-seated issues that they have not dealt with, and they want to run to the refrigerator or the freezer to cure the problem. And I have to tell you that there is no cure in the refrigerator or the freezer. Ben and Jerry are not your best friends in this country. They just are not, right? So I am coaching women and families through emotional eating like you would not believe. The fact is, Dom, and everyone listening, listen, if you know, we are over 2/3 a country, that is, we are over 2/3 overweight or obese. But scientists predict that in the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years, we are much more likely to be half the country, 50% obese. No, so
Mm.
not just overweight, not just you got 10 pounds to lose, 50% of the country over the next 10 to 15 years, if we don't get a handle on this, will be obese. Now, this is particularly a hard, truth for Black America, because if you put if you put two Black women in a room, one of us is going to be obese. 1 in 2 Black women is already obese. You see what I mean? So the fact is, we're not a problem people. We're just a people with a few problems. All of which we can work out. We can work this out. We've got time to work this out, but we do have to change. We've got to make changes in our diets, in our physical activities, and most of all, we got to change our minds. We've got to change our mindsets.
Heck yeah, I could definitely say that again. You're so right. You said so many powerful things, especially the fact that a lot of people were discovering themselves for the first time during this whole pandemic, which is so true because folks had more time to themselves or possibly with their family and their kids, and they know found some parts about them where it's like, oh, maybe I should stay single a little longer.
They don't like them. They found out for the first time. They don't even know these people.
It's like, who are you?
It's your family, but you don't know them. You don't know them because you thought you knew them. But when the stress and the pressure of the pandemic comes and sits down at the table, and the table starts to get smaller because the space becomes smaller, and you become, compacted and crushed in this space, and you're having your space. Some of people are having their space invaded. I have a number of women who are professionals, and they used to go to an office, and now they got it. They're in a home office, but the home office is invaded by kids and by a spouse or somebody else who lives there, and so there's all of that. But I have to say, whatever the time is that you are in your home during this time, take 15 minutes out of your day to just go to a quiet place. And this is a time when no one else gets to invade whatever space. I don't care if it's a corner in a room, whatever your space is that you carve out for yourself, and particularly for women. And I say that because women are last on the list. We're the last on our own list, right?
Right.
If in fact you make the list, right? So 15 minutes a day, take 15 minutes a day to go to a quiet space so that you can meditate, so that you can pray, so that you can just be there, one with yourself. And you can look inside yourself introspectively to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want today? Maybe it's more love. Maybe you want to be heard. Maybe you want attention for yourself and to yourself. Whatever it is, meditate, pray on that. And then go about the rest of your day having set your intention, fully expecting to receive this thing which you need so desperately. 15 minutes out of your day is all I'm asking you to give to you.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is where I play the organ in the background because she's preaching, y'all. That's right. That's right. The Reverend Dr. Rose in the building, baby.
It's just so needed. It is just so needed. We are the last ones on our list. And if we're going to do anything to change our lives, we got to be radical. We have to be revolutionary about self-care. We absolutely do.
That's a one-liner. Be radical and revolutionary about self-care. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
Yes, indeed. And that even part of self-care is self-talk, because I hear you also like to talk to your body when you want certain results.
Yes, I do talk. Oh my gosh, you've been snooping around in my life. Yeah, I do. I do talk to my body when I want to. You know why? Because the women have this way of standing in the mirror saying, I hate my thighs, I hate my jiggly arms, I hate my this, I hate my that. Yet they're expecting to make improvements in those areas. The fact is your DNA will work with you, literally. Those body parts will. See, we're all energy fields. We're all big fields of energy, right? Everything in the universe is made of energy. So the energy of your thighs, the energy of your jiggly arms, the energy of whatever body part it is that you wish to tighten, tone, or improve is on board with you, especially when you approach your process from a place of love. So if you start saying to yourself, I hate this, you're saying, I hate myself. I hate a part of myself. And there's no way on earth, hate just can't exist in the presence of love. It can't, it cannot. And you can't expect to get the results, the full breadth of the results that you set out to receive if you're coming from anything other than love. So I'm always saying to the women that I serve, listen, if you start from a position of love, your body is much more likely to cooperate with you and give you the results you seek, as long as you do the work. But it can be resistant to your receiving the results that you seek if you come from anything less than love. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So, yeah, do I talk to my body parts? I absolutely do, because my body is a part of me, right? And I need to rely on every part of my body to work with me so that I can succeed at doing those things that I set out to, even if it's from walking, from taking one step. So if I'm working out and my knee is bothering me, I talk to my knee like, come on, I need you to work with me. I need you to work with me. We got this. We're gonna do this together, but I need your support. And it's true. I do need the support of my knee to move from one place to the other. You see what I mean? So I need all of my body parts working in concert, working together with me for the greater good. And so do I diss my body parts? No, sir, I do not. I come from a position of love, and I want every body part to know I love you. We're going to work together. I'm going to support you. I need you to support me too.
And that's solid advice right there. Because a lot of folks need it, because sometimes we can get a little too down on ourselves. Like, oh man, especially the flabby arms part. Because the mom does this to herself, and I'm like, hey, even though you're like at a certain age right now, you've been around for a while, like you still turning heads on Sunday mornings, and you ain't giving yourself enough credit here. So come on, like, come on, think better of yourself. You can do this. Like it, you can always love your body. Start from a place of love, so that way you can get more out of your body and more out of life.
Absolutely. What a marvelous son you are. Yes. And you're telling your mom that she's still turning heads, but the fact is, even the jiggly parts, we got to love all of us, even the jiggly parts. So if they're flabby arms, because here's the real truth. You are not a human being. A whole human being does not boil down to flabby arms. You're so much. You're
Yep.
so much more than your arms, than the skin. I mean, I understand if you don't like it and you want to improve, go on, improve. Do the work necessary to tighten the muscles of your arms. But you've got to know from the outset, you are so much bigger and so much more than your arms. You cannot be reduced as an entire whole human being and human spirit down to a set of a pair of arms. It's ridiculous. And we can't see ourselves that way. We have to see the totality of what we are and who we are. And our opinion of ourselves has got to be greater than anyone else's about us. Always.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Because so darn true. It's like, hey, because a lot of folks have opinions. Kind of like
Yeah.
bottoms, right? We all have a backside, right?
Yes, everybody's got one. Everyone's got one. So, so the fact that yours matters most to you is what will, really get you the success that you want in life. I mean, your validation has to come from self. Your acceptance has to first come from self. And before that, your love for you has to come from self.
Amen. Indeed. That's right. Self love is definitely required. Yes, indeed.
Yes, yes.
So, since this is far from your first rodeo, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
Um, yeah, like, how are you going to do your television show? Like, yeah, the question I want is, where shall I send your contract? I want that. I want to hear that more often. Where shall I send the contract for you to get this television show of yours? I see something here. I'm on board. Where should we send the contract? Shouldn't we take a meeting? That question. I want more of that question. Let's take a meeting so that we can talk about this television show of yours that you want to do.
You heard that right, folks. You spoke it out to existence, baby. That's right.
Yeah.
Dr. Rowe is looking to help America lose over 10 million pounds, baby, collectively. That's what I'm talking about. A decade millionaire of pounds, baby. All that fat coming off your human bodies going back into the earth. I'm telling you, never to come
Mm-hmm.
back either.
Mm-hmm. Never to come back. We're gonna lose it for good.
That's right. Like,
We're gonna
imagine.
lose it for the greater good.
That's right. You ever did the math on how many dress sizes that is, by the way?
The greater good. I haven't. That's a great question, though. No, I never have. How many dress sizes would that be? Yeah,
It's got to be in the billions at least. With me.
like an infinite number. An infinite number. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's fabulous indeed. So, since some of the listeners are full-time employees with side hustles trying to get into full-time entrepreneurship, and since you yourself are an entrepreneur and your mom was also an entrepreneur, any advice for those out there who may need that extra confidence to keep going and pushing hard to manifest their desires?
Sure. You got to have a vision first because you have to know what you want in order to know where you're going and to map out a strategy for how you're going to get there. I will tell you this though, all of the television work that I've gotten either came from me making a contact with a person. Like my first couple of television shows, one was local in DC, and then another one was national on BET, Heart and Soul. It's because I made a call. I made a call and walked in and convinced these people to give me a shot, and it happened, right? Not overnight, but it happened. But then after that, I started getting opportunities that came to me, like literally came to me. And people would always say, "Well, who's your agent?" And I didn't have one. So finally, I did not have one, and I got to the point where I was saying, God is my agent because I just keep getting these opportunities, and I did nothing to go after it myself, right? They say as entrepreneurs, if you have a business or if you want to, do something like I wanted my own television show, make friends, like talk to at least one person a day that can help you that with your charge, that can help you get closer to your charge. So I would say that does really count, making a contact or a connection with someone a day, like at least one person a day, right? Some people say do three, some people say do five. Just depends on how much time you have, as you're on your grind. But I would say those connections really do ultimately pay off in some way. But you know what? I got all the opportunities that I ever received came from my desire to serve. I worked for free long before I ever got paid to speak. Long before I ever got paid to speak. I did television for free long before I ever got paid for it because you have to learn the craft and then you have to hone your skills. And when I got into this business, you had to have certain credentials. Like, people talk about the gatekeepers before. But I want you to know that there are new gatekeepers now. It's not like the gatekeepers are gone. Okay. I know there are a lot of people that show up as internet sensations and blah, 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 all that. But I'm going to tell you, internet sensations are not born overnight. And I just read an article today that talked about the difference between Black influencers and those who are not, right? And it's not a good difference. It's a big difference, but it's not a good one. Black people do not receive the same monies for a lot of this influencer work from major corporations and marketing companies that their white counterparts do. So there's that. And so you need to be mindful of that. I will tell you that I did business with Fortune 500 corporations like my whole career, and none of whom I went to, they came to me. That was a different time. It was a different time. It was, you know what I mean? They saw the work that I was doing, serving. They saw the work that I was doing, and they said, you know, hey, we want to be in business with her. So I end up launching the fruit and walnut salad for McDonald's restaurants in 2005, and I launched the New Asian chicken salad in 2006, and I was able to sit at the table and have an impact on the decision to replace, you know, French fries with apple slices and Happy Meals. And I was able to be a part of the conversation to be able to replace soda with milk for kids in Happy Meals. And I'm the only nutritionist on the planet Earth that has ever had her own Happy Meal in her name in select McDonald's stores in the DMV area. It was called Row on the Go, Dr. Row on the Go. That was my Happy Meal. So, but I didn't, you know, they came to me. And I was pursued by Coca-Cola to join them. And I toured on their behalf, teaching people about hydration and getting over 80,000 women to walk 1 million collective miles. And before that, I toured with Procter and Gamble, you know, for like, I don't know, 6 years on a speaking tour. You know, they bought my books, I signed them, I spoke, we toured, you know, over 20 cities a year. And I did that for like the better part of like 5 or 6 years. I say all that to say, if you are seriously committed to the work that you do, people will still, even though there is such a thing as internet sensations, people will still find you. It's just that it's a very crowded space right now. It's in this current moment that we live in. So be aware of that, but stand out based on your word and the quality of your work. That's what makes people take notice of you. It is a crowded space. The internet is a crowded space. Instagram is, everybody's not going to be an Instagram influencer. But what if you're an influencer, you know, that's off Instagram? You see what I mean? And you're being paid by major corporations. That's the work you want.
Amen.
And so, and the way you get it is to you stand out based on the quality of the work and information that you put out. But you do have to hone your craft. You got to hone your skills. And then based on that, people will take notice of you. If you are excellent at what you do, they will take notice of you. And that is still true, regardless of internet or not.
Heck yes, indeed. Definitely could say that again. Because, yeah, it's like, oh, internet influencers. Oh, this person's influencing somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe when they're probably not. They just probably like their funny videos. And heck, even kind of like some of those folks make the funny sketches, but they try stand-up comedy and they realize, oh, this is a different skill set. Let me do Q&A at a comedy club, which is not going to work.
Totally. So exactly, totally. And any comedian will tell you that. And I have a lot of comedians that are friends, like real friends. But any comedian will tell you that doing a set is totally different from that little stuff people do on Instagram and that they do for the gram, or that they do on whatever the social media platform is. Doing a full set is totally different. And you don't know that until you become a real professional. You just can't be an internet sensation. You get 1 million views for some little routine that you did on YouTube. That's not the same.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right.
So what I'm saying is do the work. Do the work of honing your craft so that you can become excellent at what you do. And I guarantee you the universe will take notice. People will be calling you. You won't have to worry about it. But do the work of honing your skills and practicing your craft, and if it's necessary, getting the credentials, whatever it is that that your area that you serve in, get the credentials. Don't try to skip it. This, life is not microwave. It isn't.
It's so
It
true.
may seem like it. It may seem like it, but baby, let me tell you, it was, my God. I think I had to be in school for like 14 years. I mean, it's like, you do 4 or 5 years. In undergrad, I did another 3 years for a master's degree. I did another 5 years for a doctorate. So this thing doesn't come overnight. You see what I mean? And so if you want the big prize, and if you really want to have longevity in your business, and that's what I would consider real success. For me personally, success it has nothing to do with money. Success is walking in your purpose. So if you're doing that, you're already successful. You don't have to get successful. But I will say that if you want the perks that come with having a successful business, which means money, time, and the freedom to do those things that you see yourself doing, that you wish to do with your life, uh, just know that none of this happens overnight. None of it. You're going to pay in something. You have to put the time in. There is no shortcut. And I don't care what your vocation is or what your profession is, there's no shortcuts here.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's so true. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over many nights.
Yes, yes. Your overnight sensationalism is going to happen over decades. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for at least 10 or 15. You got to put those 10,000 hours in before you become an expert at anything.
That's right. It's so true.
And
It's
Dom, you know about this. You have over 300 podcast episodes. So you know a little something about this, about putting the time in.
you can say that again because I'm still learning through this whole process myself.
But you're putting the time in. You have over 300 podcast episodes under your belt. That's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. And it's wonderful folks like you that help make it happen indeed. So it won't be just me making stupid dad jokes every week, even though those still happen.
Well, I'm sure your audience appreciates a dad joke every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, especially if it involves trees.
Okay. Okay. I have a visual that I won't say, but okay.
What is it? An oak tree?
Trees it is. Well, a lot of things happen at trees and on trees.
Yep. Some people smoke them for all their knowledge.
Oh, those trees. Yes. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Yep. That's how I found out how I got here. They smoked me for all my knowledge.
Mm, that's good.
Yep.
That's good.
That's right. Good with all the O's indeed.
That's good stuff.
Oh, man. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
At 25. Okay. So I had a pretty good, my 20s were great.
Nice.
I had fun. I had a great time. Life was I had already been to college, so I had that experience, and I had a great time in school. So at 25, what would I say? What would I give? What advice would I give to myself? As excuse me, as you move towards your future, towards your destiny, just relax. Relax. I would also say date, because I was always the serial girlfriend for like years at a time at a clip. Date, get to know yourself through getting to know these other people. Okay, date. Just don't you don't have to be the girlfriend all the time. Just date. Date like a man. I didn't start doing that until I was like, I don't know, I think like 35 or 40 or something. So date like a man. Do that. There's a book out. There used to be a book out called Date Like a Man in the early 2000s. Look it up. It's good. Um, so yeah, date like a man. Do that. Relax. You're definitely on the right track. You're on the right track for where you're going. But don't worry about, you don't have to worry about whether or not you're good enough, because you already are good enough. You've always been good enough. And you have talents and gifts and experiences ahead that will astound you, literally astound you. Keep your mindset to go towards your dream with reckless abandon. Throw caution to the wind and pursue your dream with reckless abandon, because it just is sitting there waiting for you. Relax, make it happen, keep doing what you're doing. And by the way, date. Stop being the serial girlfriend. Date more. You're going to learn a lot more about yourself and about life through this experience. So date more.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a good question, actually.
Well, thank you. Yeah, because usually folks answer one of two ways. They either really go back to when they were 25, or they think about the whole question. It's like, oh, if I was 25 today with my knowledge, oh, okay. Uh,
Hmm.
that's right. It's like, oh, okay. It's like I might leave my spouse, might not do the motherhood thing. I'm gonna go to Japan, and maybe, you know what? I think I'll have a meat bun on my head. Yep. Make friends with a camel. Yep. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
No one's actually said that. Don't worry.
Okay. A meat bun on the head and friends with a camel. Interesting.
Well, you said contact a person every day, so especially on Wednesdays too.
Yeah.
Contact a camel.
These are all interesting points. What an adventure.
Yep. It's like, oh, I am not choosing my own adventure today. I think I think I'm gonna go somewhere else. I think I'll just work out at
Yeah.
home today.
Yeah. Right after you've made friends with the camel.
You're like, yeah, I don't believe in hump days anymore. I just believe in hump lives. That camel is my best friend now. Tell me where all the watering holes are.
Mm,
Yes, indeed. Taught me how to store some water too.
good to know. Good to know.
Well, what else is good to know is all the stuff that you have. So, what's the best way for folks to keep up with all the stuff that the good doctor is doing?
So you want to go to everythingro.com, everythingro.com, and follow me on social media, because I give you lots of health, nutrition, and fitness information. Definitely go to my podcast, subscribe, download, and share the podcast. It's Dr. Rowe, spelled RO, on demand. Dr. Rowe, on demand.
There it
It's
is.
Dr. Rowe. Dr. Rowe, I'm Dr. Rowe, on demand. So it's Dr. Rowe on demand, available across podcast platforms, especially Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, just across podcast platforms. So definitely go there, subscribe, download, and share the podcast so we can reach more people. Because at some point we're going to take this act to television. I don't know when, but we're pursuing it like fire. Okay. So get all of the great information that I impart to you each week there. There's a new episode every Friday. And so, yeah, download, subscribe, and share the podcast. And check out the website. There are programs there. If you're looking for coaching, whether it's individual, like private or group coaching, I have both options available. And I often do, just random coaching programs that I put out and for like very little money, just to give you an opportunity to try me out. So if you're looking to work through the maze of emotional eating, if you consider yourself a stress eater, an emotional eater, if you're eating your feelings for any reason in any way, I've got you. I can help you to overcome that. And if you're looking to lose a few pounds, whether it's 10 or 20 or 100, I can help you with that too. My latest book is called Lose Your Final 15. You can get that at everythingrow.com, because there you get signed copies.
Woo!
And yeah, you get your copy signed. So yeah, join me, join my community. I'd love to have you as a part of it. And Dom, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you and engage with your audience in this way. It's been a blast, man. I've really had a great time talking with you.
Woohoo! Sweet. Glad the feeling's mutual indeed. That's right, because she's a powerhouse, y'all. And that was probably only 2% of what she really knows and does, folks. So go over there to everythingdrroad.com. Check it all in the show notes, too. Subscribe to her podcast as well, because not only is she dropping knowledge, she has fellow doctors dropping knowledge. Heck, even comedians, too. So it's going to be a nice little smorgasbord of stuff to help you advance indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Doctor?
Just take the time out for yourself. Everybody, man, woman, everyone listening, just grab 15 minutes. This is a time of introspection. It's not so much about what we lose in the pandemic, it's what we get. It's what we get from it. And one of the things that you can get from it is connection to yourself, okay? And because when you are connected, you tend to engage in behavior, your actions become consistent with those things that you want and you envision for yourself. So I want to help you to connect with yourself, but I would just say, let's start by taking 15 minutes to get to a quiet space in the home or wherever it is, where you will be uninterrupted, where you can really think about and meditate on and pray about those things that you see that you want for yourself. And just take it, be patient with yourself. Take it one day at a time. That's all it really takes. 15 minutes, one day at a time, just for you. Pray, meditate, set your intention for the day, and expect to get what it is you put out.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode.